All right, here we go. Are you guys ready? So we're going to react to my boy TJ from Stocks Family Farm. Total stud, by the way. We all love our boy TJ on this channel. TJ is one of our favorite dudes on this channel, and one of the reasons for that is he's just a good guy. He's honestly a very good person. And and I wanted to react to one of his videos just because, honestly, he's brave enough to go down to these anti-Trump rallies. He's brave enough, man. E-Rock, what's up? You're rich. Rich? I don't know. Here, give me a few seconds, you guys. Give me a few seconds. We're getting a few things set up before we react to Mr. TJ's incredible live stream from earlier. He encounters a lot of woke people. Lots of wokies. Give me 1 second. And we're just going to do a couple things real quick. But yeah, we're going to, time to drive to the gym. We'll listen. Hey, thank you, Irich. Von Irich. I appreciate you, my brony bro. You're a pink brony bro, and you dance at the gay club. Oh my god, I'm just having fun on the stage in my hooves. I'm wearing a man thong. It's been 8 days, man. Oh my god. We're at the Pink Brony Club. I'm gonna keep on fapping at the Pink Brony Club. I'm gonna keep on crapping down in West Hollywood. I'm gonna keep on fapping at the Pink Brony Club. Pink Brony. Okay, so we're gonna react to TJ at a local anti-Trump rally. And we're going to give our support to TJ because he's he's a good friend of mine. I love this guy. I want to support everything he does to the best of my ability. I can't be perfect, but I want to do the best I can because I want you guys to subscribe to at Stocks Family Farm. Once again, at Stocks Family Farm. Total stud. Kind man. One of the kindest dudes I've ever met. So it's a pleasure to be able to react to his video. For sure. And we're going to see what he does. We're going to see what my boy does, dude.
We're going to go down and interview all the people down there. Hey, thanks. We'll see you. This is the Egyptian theater where they had the Turning Point event. Good place. Good place. Their music is really loud today.
They're playing the music. I bet it's some AI. I bet it's a lot of AI slop music. It's some crap. Annie, what's going on, my brony? Supporting a little bit of TJ. We're watching a little bit of TJ Stocks Family Farms. I'm reacting to the. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I got a little bit of a headache today. So we're reacting to TJ down at the anti-Trump rally that they did. I think you were probably watching it. But I didn't really get the chance to watch the whole thing earlier because I had some stuff I had to do. But yeah, let's watch. TJ's the man, by the way. I love this guy. He's an incredible human being.
We'll see how many are down here. Let's see a few.
Admittedly, it is fun to laugh at the Wokonians. Let's keep going.
It doesn't look well, there's a.
But yeah, Annie, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. It's good to see you on the channel. It's good to see you.
Really, really loud music.
Once again, before we continue, though, I do want to say this. Make sure you guys subscribe to Stocks Family Farm. Like I said, once again, Stocks Family Farm. It's my boy TJ. Really cool dude. Really kind fella. We all love our boy TJ on this channel, so we like to support him in any way we can. So he's an incredible human being, in my opinion. I love the guy. I know how good of a person he is and how kind of a person he is, so it pisses me off when some of these liberals mess with him. It pisses me the F off, dude.
Okay, well, here goes nothing.
Let's see how this turn. So I am freshly watching this. Like I said, I did not get a chance to watch any of this earlier, so I'm watching the replay. So we're going to react to what happens to our man TJ. We're going to see what the result is. We love TJ. We care about TJ on this channel. And we honestly always wish him the best, no matter what happens, because we care about this man. Even if you guys don't agree with him, by the way, just know that this is one of the kindest dudes ever. Anyway, Chris Guthrie says, R.I.P. Chicago Bears, way to fumble a $1 billion bag. Ain't in no way they stay. Yeah. Why would the Chicago Bears stay in Chicago? Chicago is a crappy city. Chris Guthrie in the house, everybody. Give a shout out to my boy Chris Guthrie. Let's go.
Damn, no, I want another cigarette before I go over there. We're going to see how many are...
Hold on, I'm going to try to skip past a couple of this. We're trying to skip past the part with the ciggies.
Politics. Good God. Squad is murderers.
Yeah, nice to see you out here too.
Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, so we got past... Yeah, dude, TJ, Stocks Family Farm's an incredible dude. I mean, Stocks Family Farm. TJ from Stocks Family Farm is an incredible man. We love our boy TJ on this channel. We are huge fans. Let's keep going, man.
Glad we got a decent day.
Oh, man, it's beautiful.
I have my umbrella ready just in case.
Yeah, well, I almost wore the waterproof Carhartt, but man, it's a lot windier in town than it is upriver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right. I can handle the wind.
Yeah. Hey, have a great day.
You too.
How are you guys doing today?
Good. Don't want to talk to you though.
You don't want to talk? I'm a really nice guy, I promise.
I don't want to talk to you.
Come on, we've had good conversations before. All right.
Hey man,
What's up, Greg? How you doing?
TJ?
Good, man.
What's going on?
Oh, Greg. This is one of the woke guys. He's actually warm. I'm going to give Greg some props. He's actually warming up to TJ. Like, as in, like, he's treating him a lot better than he has before, right? So, I'm not a big fan of the Greg guy. I get he's just as human as the rest of us, but let's keep watching.
Oh,
Howdy. How you doing?
Just, seeing what people have to talk about this week, and
Hey, would you like to talk with me for a while?
we
We can head over to the boardwalk where there's less music and
There's
chat.
a lot of music, but yeah, we could
Yeah.
maybe go over there somewhere. Yeah,
I'll put this down. I'll meet you over there.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna have a look.
Yeah, a lot of the protesters treat TJ like crap, unfortunately. Hopefully it changes. Maybe it changes. I don't know. Maybe they're going to be less radicalized, but, I don't know. But either way, TJ is, I would say TJ's, I guess, pretty MAGA. He's pretty... I wouldn't say we agree on everything politically, but we're pretty aligned for the most part. And so I understand a lot of the arguments that TJ makes for some things, for sure, for a lot of things. So yeah, TJ's a hell of an interviewer. He comes prepared. He actually forgot his notes this time, though. He rarely does that, but he's still pretty good at going off memory, and he knows what he's trying to say very well. He's really good at articulating things. So I got to give TJ a lot of props. He tends to pull through, even if he's like, even if he might be like struggling a little bit. He's a pro. He's a straight up professional.
Little conversation with Greg.
Let's sounds like, I don't know if that's like AI music in the background or not, but let's just keep watching. Let's keep watching.
It's your stupid flipper.
Your stupid flip us off, really? Oh, okay. Well, I'll flip that guy off. I'll be happy to. I don't know if we could flip the bird on YouTube, but if I could flip the bird, I would do that. Oh, man.
Oh, that's funny. It's windy. It is so windy. I'm gonna cover my mics because the music is so damn loud.
That music is pretty loud, actually.
I'm gonna go down here.
Hey, if you guys can, though, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It does help the channel grow. We're almost to 10,000 subscribers on this channel. But also subscribe to Stocks Family Farm. We're trying to get to Stocks Family Farm. We're trying to get him 1,000 subscribers. He's almost to 1,000. He's currently at 831 subs and counting. So whatever you guys can do to help my boy out, man, we appreciate it. We love Stocks Family Farm. But also subscribe to our channel as well, just so that way you can keep up with all the juicy details, all the juiciness in the world. Let's keep going, man.
Little conversation with Greg. I'm down here. Look how beautiful it is here. We got all those people there.
Oh, shit. Nate Dogg just sent a happy poop yum yum for 10 joules. Happy poop yum yum. Happy poop ooh woo. Happy poop, happy poop, happy poop ooh woo. If you guys want me to say ooh woo, just send me a happy poop and I will constantly say happy poop ooh woo. Happy poop ooh woo. Happy poop, happy poop, happy poop ooh woo. Yager's Farm says 42 people on live and only 7 likes. Give a like, y'all. Thank you, Mr. Jim, my boy Jim from Yager's Farm. We are reacting to TJ's video from Stocks Family Farm, so make sure you guys subscribe to Stocks Family Farm, total stud, at Stocks Family Farm. My boy TJ is kicking ass. He is one of the first off, anytime he goes down to the boardwalk, TJ has more balls than I do. Can we just be clear? TJ has more balls than I do to do this. So I appreciate what TJ's doing. And TJ's the man. And he's a very kind individual. He really is a kind man. I love this guy. He's got a good soul.
We'll go over here to this picnic table. Damn it, it's windy. Windy, windy, windy. Yeah. Ooh. Okay, here, I'll give you that microphone.
Sweet.
Yeah, you like my whisk?
Oh, it's the microphone handle.
Yeah, it's, let me empty my pockets before I sit down.
It'd be a good day to have a sailboat, man.
Yeah, it would.
This is getting sexy. Oh shit, he's talking to Greg, dude. He's talking to Greg. Now, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Greg in the world, but you know, let's see what we got. Although I think Greg is finally being nicer to TJ. So the only reason I didn't like Greg before was because I didn't think he treated TJ very well. I mean, Greg has never been a big fan of me. I could tell. Every time he looks at me, he gives me a scowl. But the reason Greg doesn't like me is because I go down there and I go in a little corner and I start rapping about my gay love of Joe Biden. Nah, I love Joe Biden. Gaily. I love Joe Biden in a very non-heterosexual way. Just sexual. Oh, man. But yeah, thank you guys for tapping the subscribe button, though. Ooh-woo. Tap the subscribe button. Ooh-woo. Oh, man. We're going to react to this here in a second. There's one more thing I got to do real quick. But yeah, make sure you guys subscribe to my boy Stocks Family Farm, TJ.
There we go. We got Greg. We might not have me in the video as much just because I'm vertical instead of horizontal. What's happening, man?
Not much. Man, it's been kind of a crazy month, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. I didn't make it to the last that you guys had because it's raining.
It was raining.
Yeah, I don't like
But
that.
yeah, I was hoping to talk to you last what was it, Saturday?
On Valentine's Day, dude,
Yeah.
I got
know.
trespassed from the mall hours before anybody else got there. Like the stage was just freshly set up, and I had already gotten told leave the property long. Like
He got trespassed from the mall? TJ did? No. That is so dumb, really? No, that actually pisses me off. Why would TJ get trespassed from the mall? Why? And can somebody explain to me, please, why Sal was allowed to be there? The guy who runs the Coos Bay, Oregon page, the Coos Bay area page. This guy named Sal, I'm not going to go into why he shouldn't be there, but I think it's pretty obvious why he shouldn't be there. Sal is a total piece of you-know-what. And I'm not going to go into it because, ugh. But TJ had every right to. I can't believe TJ was 86th from the mall premise. That's insane.
I was the first one there, and then I ended up meeting up with those other guys that were there eventually, you know.
Man, here I was ready just to talk to you that night, and man, bummer.
Well, I found out that I have my own mic, so you can hold that one. But yeah, I found out that like those guys have a very different style than I do.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. That's badass. Did you notice how TJ actually put his little lapel microphone on a little whisk? That's actually kind of smart. That's actually not just kind of. That's fucking brilliant, dude. What a stud. This is why I love TJ, man. The dude is very resourceful and very creative. He's like, you know what? Fuck it. And those are good microphones, by the way. The little microphones, those little lapel microphones, incredible. So kudos to TJ for coming prepared, man.
You know, like I like to go and have conversations.
Like whenever I go out and do stupid interviews, I just use my fucking Pixel 8 Pro, and that's about it. Like, it's got a good microphone built into it, but it's not exactly the most professional setup in the world, but I don't really care at the end of the day. I just love doing what I do.
And had dialogue and stuff like that. And I like from those other guys, I mean, I don't really know them, you know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, they're
all from out of town.
Right. And they go to like Washington and stuff like that. I don't have time to be doing that. And that's not like why I made my YouTube channel anyway. Like I didn't make my YouTube channel to be a YouTuber, you know. I just did it so that I could have somewhere to save videos to show my daughter when she got older, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I made mine because I'm an attention whore. I ain't gonna lie. I do like the attention, but also I made mine just because I thought it would be fun to do a radio show, like sort of like a radio show, radio talk show format, but on YouTube. And I was like, you know, I was like, kind of most modern podcasts kind of suck, so I was like, let's make talk radio popular again. So this is more of like a talk radio / reaction channel. So this channel's either evolved or devolved. My channel personally has either evolved or devolved. I'm not entirely sure at this point, but I really do enjoy watching TJ's videos because he's honestly a very intelligent dude. People don't give this man enough props. So this is one of the reasons why I promote him so much is because I know he's a good fella. I think he's a nicer, kinder person than I am, to be honest. I mean, I've got good qualities. Sure, I shouldn't sell myself too short, but I really do think that at the end of the day, TJ's got much more pure intentions than I would when I go down to these. I'm there to stir the pot. I'm there to ruffle feathers, and TJ's there to actually talk to people. I'm just there to act like Tom Green back in the day, you know. I kind of want to bring back that Tom Green style of sense of humor and bring it to the streets, you know, to some degree.
Yeah,
that's it.
Hard drives are expensive, man.
Yeah.
Then you get like one bad accident and all your data's gone.
Yeah.
Been there.
Yeah, I don't even know all the like childhood pictures that I digitized and stuff like that, and then lost, like moving around, and you know, I was a drug addict for a long time, so I lost everything. You know, I literally I've started over so many times. Like
I'm a computer guy, and I've started over several times. It just happens, man. You don't know everything, and then something goes wrong.
Oh, Greg's a computer guy? Okay, I didn't know that Greg was into computers. This is the thing. I'm glad that Greg is actually talking to TJ. I would love to talk computer. I'm pretty sure Greg would actually talk circles around me with computers, because like I'm very specialized in my focus in computers, in any sort of computers. I'm really more on the software side of things, but yeah, when it comes to hardware, I can work around a schlong. Let's see.
I absolutely get that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you a question. Actually, I wanted to come around and answer a question for you. You asked during the Rob Taylor report, can you be a Christian and a nationalist and that be okay?
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think you could be a nationalist because in a lot of ways, Christians say, Christians talk about, what's the term? Love thy neighbor, right? Look after your neighbor, right? So being a nationalist is a good thing. Focusing on America is a good thing. Focusing on what's happening in your own town is a good thing. Focusing on helping those around you to the best of your ability is a good thing. So I think you could be a nationalist and a Christian. I really believe that. Why not? Because we can't just be focused on every other country and America can't fix every single country's fucking problem. You know? That just is not happening. So, and I'm not I wouldn't say I'm like much of a Christian. I'm not a traditional Christian, I'll just say that. But at the same time, like I do believe there's a creator. That's the type of Christian I am. I'm not traditional in any way though. I don't like go to church or anything. I do try to read the Bible every once in a while because it is a fascinating book. But at the same time, I think you could be a Christian and a nationalist. Being a nationalist doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It means that you care more about your country than other people's countries. There's nothing wrong with that. If you talk to people from Italy who are actually national citizens of Italy, they're going to say that, yeah, I care more about the things that are happening in my own country than any other country. Nationalism's not necessarily a bad thing. There might be certain levels where it doesn't work, but I don't think it's a bad thing ultimately. Let's go.
And not be a Christian nationalist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk to you about that. Do you feel like that's
a complex question? Yeah, we can talk about that.
Can we talk about that? All right. So what is your view of a nationalist? And I'm trying to ask that in like, how would you relate being a nationalist to being a patriot?
Okay, so I believe those are two completely different things. Being a patriot is like standing up for your country, fighting for your country, being proud for your country. Like I would almost consider all the people out here patriots. Like I mean, they not in the current modern societal context, but like they're standing up for the.
I would say this. It's okay to be a nationalist. Why not? It's okay to give a shit about your own country. It's okay to care about your own country more than other people's countries. If you live, by the way, I live in America. The reason I care more about America than other countries is because I live in this country. I care about this country. I care about the people of this country. So yeah, I'm pro-America. And yeah, technically that makes anybody who's pro-America at the hardest degree a nationalist. Why not? Look, I think it's okay to understand what's happening in other countries and still care about other countries, but we can't solve the world's problems. America cannot solve every other country's problems. That's just not how it works.
Their beliefs in America. So these people would also consider patriots, right? But like, I mean, we also have the modern version of what people, like how the people use it and stuff like that. But as far as being a nationalist, like, I think that's really what it boils down to, is just saying American citizens before anybody else, and like wanting to preserve sort of our sense of national identity. You know, like, I mean, our society is farming. Look at this town. It's fishermen. It's hunters, it's loggers. That is a, you know, like, I don't know the best word to use for it, but I think just wanting, that's an identity, our cultural identity for this area, you know, and the way the mentality goes around the jobs that are available and the careers that people choose. And around here, the jobs and the careers are logging and fishing and stuff in the fishing industry. I mean, look at Charleston, it's all processing plants and everything like that. And that, so I feel like that's a identity that people should want, even a city identity. And then we go out, statewide identity, and then a national identity. And you know, and when we get to national identity, you know, we got the Oregon or the Iowa corn farmers. We got the Appalachian, you know, group, and they're kind of like, it's much like Europe has, each country has a different identity, you know?
Yeah, I think I see what TJ's getting at. I do. I'm thinking real quick. Because here's the thing. I think that national identity matters. I think local identity for a town matters too. You know, I think it's important to care about your own town. I think it's important to care about your state, and I think it's important to care about the United States of America as well. Look, the only way you could change the world, the only way each individual can change the world is by changing themselves and making themselves a better, more productive person and a kinder, more compassionate person. That's the way the world changes and improves. Other than that, it's just, I don't know. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with being a nationalist. Caring more, like for instance, caring more about your own country than other countries is not a sin. I hate it when people say it's like some sort of terrible, terrible sin. It's not. Caring about your own country matters. So, since when did that become a problem?
Our nation is like that, but they all kind of they're all kind of cohesive, and I think like specifically lately, like I love immigrants. Like my two best friends in town are immigrants, and like, but they're 100% doing everything.
But they came through legally. That's the point. You know, these people came in legally, and I know which people he's talking about too. They actually came here legally, like actual legal. They went through the proper channels, right? That matters.
Everything by the step, by the book, by the process, you know, and everything like that. And we talk about that, you know, and they have no problem hearing how I feel about it, and they agree with me, you know. And one of them's been here 10 years, the other one's been here 6. You know, they're a different religion than me. Things like that. Hold on, there's a child walking by. I don't film children. No, that's okay. No problem. Have a great day. Okay, sorry about that, guys.
So,
but yeah, go ahead.
I hear you. That's I think a decent definition and explanation of it. And if we were to look up like in the dictionary, the definition of patriot is someone who loves their country.
Right.
That's pretty simple.
Did I say?
Yeah, you said them. I think we all love our country. Right. We're all patriots in that.
Well, and I think it's more than just loving your country. I think it has to do with actually doing something about your love for the country. You know, whether like I obviously we're not veterans. You know, like that's one step above and beyond anything that I would ever be able to do. And I tried to get into the service, but I was a criminal as a child, so I got arrested a couple times, and actually they wouldn't take me. But I'm
an airborne veteran.
Oh, are you? Yeah, it was right before 9/11, so I missed out on. Well, I didn't miss out on Iraq, but all that stuff.
I signed up because of 9/11.
Did you? Yeah. Are you and I about the same age?
I was a senior in high school when 9/11 happened.
I didn't know Greg was in the Air Force. Hell yeah, that's crazy.
I remember driving to school when I heard the announcement, and I just thought, wow, this is messed up. And then a few days later, I heard people were cheering that 10,000 people died. Yeah. I signed up that day, man. I was hooked. I was in. But nonetheless,
the dancing is really
no, thank you. The nationalism is not defined as a love for one's country. Nationalism is defined as you said it, putting country first and kind of creating a separation between you and other countries, as well as you said.
And I think there should be a separation between us and other countries to some extent, because I think that I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think there are just some countries that we really can't truly. I mean, we could try to interact with, but we shouldn't be trying to save the world. That's one thing that pisses me off about modern America is we all think we got to save the frickin' world. You know, it's like, it's so weird. E.T. says that's Jake Pierce in real life. Probably. I don't know. All I know is that Greg, I'm not a big fan of that Greg guy, and I know he's not a big fan of me. I will admit, props to him for actually talking to TJ and not being a total cunt to TJ, you know? He's being a lot nicer to TJ than he was before, so I will give him some leeway on that one. But let's keep watching.
Creating a national identity, which we're a country of immigrants, always have been since the English started coming here. And it's unfair to say that like we have a single national identity when back in the early days of our country, right, we were against the Germans.
E.T. says, I said shave the world, not save the world.
Immigrating because they were destroying the national identity. And then we were against the Irish immigrating because they were destroying the national identity.
Sometimes that happens, man. Sometimes that happens in like not just the identity, but sometimes a country just shouldn't take in a bunch of people. I just think it's a bad idea. Sometimes countries shouldn't do that. Sometimes countries are not equipped to handle that. It's a big deal, man. I don't think that every country needs to like take in every single person. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem right. It just doesn't feel right. I just think it's stupid. I think it's dumb.
But they're all white. And we didn't have a problem with immigrating black people because we had lots of work for them.
Right.
Not we, but
yeah.
Our entire history of creating a national culture has been one of nationalism and trying to pin us versus them. And that mentality, I would argue, and I think many others would too, is a separatist one, where you try to create enemies, you try to create distance from allies, and that is an identity that leads to conflict in the future. So in the past, we can see countries that have adopted nationalism have soon gone to war. over territories. Here we're talking about Greenland. They've gone to.
By the way, let's get Greenland, dude. Dude, if we get Greenland, I'm so on board with that. I would love it if Trump found a way for us to purchase Greenland. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it, man. At least it would help us defend our borders. You know, it would help defend the U.S. in general. So I'm all on board with Greenland, man. Give me Greenland. Sounds all right to me.
To war over
I want Greenland,
eugenics, bro. And here
give me
we're
Greenland. Give it to me.
Immigrants and legal ones too. According to DHS, 80-something%, I think 86, I'm not entirely sure, but it's above 80% of the people arrested have no criminal history, have no.
They still have a deportation order, though.
They would have come here fighting for asylum, and then are suddenly.
Hey, do not apologize. It's no problem at all.
Enjoy your walk on this beautiful day.
Sorry, there's some kids walking by. Everybody, I don't get kids on film.
That's just me now.
It should be, yeah.
All right, there we go. All right, so, like, there's a lot of people that have come here and claimed asylum, which is a completely legal process,
right?
And the asylum process takes a long time, and in these asylum cases, we're finding that the Department of Justice is dismissing them, which is normally good news.
Right.
But then ICE is outside the courtroom.
Here.
Yeah, he is.
I just seen him. Yeah.
But then there are ICE agents right outside the courtroom that are detaining people. So, like, they came here illegal. They came here. They're trying to do it legal. They're in the courtroom.
Right.
And they're being arrested and detained and deported. So it doesn't seem like it's about being legal.
One of the things that
I don't know. I mean, like, if there's here's the thing. We as a country can choose to either send somebody back or not. If they're not technically a citizen yet, I mean, every country has the right. Like, if I'm, like, let's say I wanted to, some of my ancestors were from Ireland, okay? Let's say I wanted to immigrate to Ireland, but let's say I'm technically an illegal, I'm illegal there, right? Like, let's say I'm trying to get my permanent citizenship. I have to go through the courts. But then Ireland suddenly decides, anybody who's illegal, we're going to send you back to your country of origin. And what do? Send me back to my country of origin. Straight up. Look, Ireland. If I wanted to go to Ireland, Ireland has no right. I'm sorry. Ireland is under no obligation, is what I should say. They are under no obligation to keep me in their country if I'm not actually a citizen. If I'm a citizen, I have the right to stay there. But if I'm technically not a citizen yet and I'm still going through the process, but the government of Ireland's like, no thanks, we don't want you here, so get out of here. I have to abide by that. I have to. That's how it works. It sucks. That would suck, but that's the way it rolls.
Consider is the fact that, like, when you're seeking asylum, right? You go to the nearest country, right?
That was a recent change.
Okay, and was that? But that was before, Biden, and so a lot of these immigration laws that are being enforced right now were put into place in the 90s by the Democrats.
Way early 60s.
Well,
a lot of the immigration laws that we are following today were from the immigration reform from the 1960s.
Oh, some of that I didn't know.
When they stopped.
Yeah, some of that I didn't know. Some of the laws that we're following today. Hey, guys, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, though. The more subscribers we get, the better. Make sure you guys check out at Stocks Family Farm. He's pretty dope. Make sure you guys subscribe to his channel as well. But yeah, Stocks Family Farm is the man. Let's keep going.
The ban of most immigrants for the 40 years prior to that. And so we're kind of on a 60-year period here where we have had decent immigration rates.
Right.
Had we had these immigration rates when World War II happened, there would have been far less Jews that would have been murdered. But unfortunately, we still have pretty racist immigration caps for certain countries. where we say like, well, if you're from this Mexican or this Muslim country, we're only going to allow 10,000 people a year. But
yeah, and I think there should be caps. I really do. I think there should be caps on how many people we allow per country. We can't just let everybody in at one time. I think that's a bad practice. I think it's a bad idea. You can't just leave the door open. You can't. You can't just leave the fucking door open.
But if you're from this country, we'll allow 70,000 people a year. And that's not...
See, and I don't like. I'm gonna just take your word for that one. I don't actually know that for a fact. But I mean, like, we have to also consider, like, I mean, we have whole neighborhoods that are now completely like Compton. When you think Compton, you think back in the 90s, that was, you know, like, that's, I mean,
Blacks.
NWA, and, you know, like there was a whole actual culture. There was the Compton, the Long Beach, you know, the culture. I'm not saying race specific. I'm saying like there was a culture there, but
Sure.
All those houses now, that entire area is nothing but Hispanics, you know, and it was all about the cost of housing and stuff like that, and it displaced all the people that had probably had families in that neighborhood for generations, you know. And I just,
Do you think that's a bad thing?
Hey guys, make sure you tap the like button, though. The more likes we get, the better. It does help the channel grow. So tap the like button, tap the subscribe button too. But yeah, I could see, like, look, I think certain populations get displaced. I think that, look, I don't think necessarily a demographic increase is always a good thing. And by the way, I just want to let you know, I'm part Mexican. My last name's Garza. I'm 25% Mexican, right? So at the same time, like, the problem with and here's my problem, a lot of immigrants that are coming to America, they're expecting Americans to assimilate to their culture and not to ours. If you're coming to America, we expect you to assimilate to our culture, not yours, except for, of course, if you go to Minnesota, you're going to get a bunch of people suffering white guilt trying to assimilate to your culture. And here's the thing. I don't want to assimilate to your culture. I may be part Mexican, but there's a reason that my grandfather left Mexico, just to let you know. There's a damn good reason. Because he didn't necessarily appreciate the culture. And honestly, I don't either. I don't. It's funny because people think that because I'm not a fan of the culture, I hate the people. No, I love, by the way, I love the Mexican people. I just can't stand the culture. Culture's a little too machismo to me. And honestly, I'm not a big fan of the way that, I'm not a fan of the way my people treat women. I'm not a fan of it.
I mean, they essentially got displaced from where they grew up, you know, and
But so to some people,
damn, it is windy. I'm gonna take my hat off.
yeah, don't let that blow away. That's a nice hat.
Thanks. Yeah, I got it for Christmas.
To some people, right, like, you want to grow up and die where you were born.
Yeah, I wish I could have, you know.
But in a lot of ways, when you move in life, that's a big opportunity to take a step up too, right? For those that continually switch jobs, they make more money than the person that stays put. For those that live in a house and sell it every 5 to 10 years, they get to step up in housing arrangements versus staying the same.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, yeah, if you're using like real estate, it's like an investment or whatever. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So a lot of those
Building equity and everything. Yeah.
a lot of those people that were in Compton or Ohio or any number of these places that have had immigrants come in and kind of appropriate the neighborhood, right? Like,
Right.
that isn't saying that the people that were displaced have a worse situation.
No, it's not. It's not saying that. Like, I mean, I honestly, like, when I went to college and everything, I thought, I went to college to get clean. Actually, like, I just cold turkey quit shooting methamphetamines one day.
Congratulations.
And this
awesome.
year I'll have 20 years sober.
That's
and,
amazing.
I just quit. I signed up for college. I went to college, and I thought I was going to be staying right, like on my family's, land where my family had, same area for all the way back to my great grandparents. I would have been like the 5th generation. I mean, my cousins are still there and their kids. So, I mean, there's still generations there, but I thought I was going to be one of them, right? And I thought I was going to be able to have my family, like my kid, go and hang out with their cousins, stuff like that. But because of my addiction that I had in the past, I had to get away from that area. And that's what brought me out here, and I just.
That's an amazing story, dude. Like, that's the thing about, one thing I love about TJ is he's actually gotten his life really together. And it's to be commended. Like, I'm inspired by TJ. Like, look, obviously I never had like a major drug addiction. I got a caffeine addiction for sure. But that's about it. Extent of it is I got a caffeine addiction. Luckily, that's the worst of it. But yeah, no, what TJ's been able to accomplish, man, it's honestly stellar and honestly amazing. He's just a really cool dude. And that's why I want people to subscribe to his channel. The reason I want people to subscribe to him is because I want him to become bigger on YouTube, just because, well, one, I know how lucrative YouTube is and how well I've done on YouTube, and I think he would do better than me. I think TJ would actually do better than me on YouTube. Even though I've accomplished quite a bit on YouTube overall, I still think that TJ would do a hell of a job doing YouTube, so... I love watching his channel. It's just so much fun. He's just an amazing dude. And, we love our boy TJ on this channel. We really do. So let's keep watching, man. Like I said, he's got an amazing story. Like, that's the one thing I love about this guy. Not just just the person he is, the person he's trying to be, the person he wants to be. And, hell of a battle, bro. Hell of a battle. The man's a warrior, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
Just came out here completely by myself, ended up meeting my wife.
Hey, man,
and now I got my farm and everything like that.
Insanely happy for you for that. Like, that is amazing. And I absolutely applaud you. I have no words for how incredible I think that is.
Yeah.
It's the pinnacle of stepping up in life, right? It's you found your rock bottom, you climbed out of it, and you made a life out of it for yourself, and that's just fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah,
I wish America allowed more people to do that.
I do too.
Versus stomping them into the ground and using the laws to keep people in poverty.
I went to jail for 6 months for weed, ironically.
Yeah, like and what a silly thing, right? Like, our laws are no billionaire.
Yeah, I will admit some of the laws are archaic. Like, I think some of the laws are extremely archaic. Like, going to jail for 6 months for possession of weed. That law alone, the irony is that law should be illegal, and I think it is now, but it's crazy.
Went to jail for weed.
Right.
Right? No billionaires going to jail for hard drugs, ketamine, and even publicly admitting that they have ketamine addictions. No billionaires getting in trouble.
Right.
And here we have, and I'm not even going to say the president, but we have other billionaires that are pedophiles.
Millionaires and billionaires. I will admit, the crazy thing about Trump is that I thought he might be guilty because of how sketched out he was, because he was kind of acting sketchy about those files. But I can't believe it turns out that Trump was a whistleblower. He whistleblew, he narked on Jeffrey Epstein. That fact alone actually kind of blew my mind a little bit. Like, seriously, that blew my mind quite a bit to find out that Trump actually narked to the police on Jeffrey Epstein. That is wild to me. I mean, what a stud, dude. Trump is a stud, dude. I love Donald Trump, man. I'm a Trump fan.
It's worse than that. They're fucking eating babies, bro.
You know
They're
what?
Fucking eating babies.
The first time
and
I heard
we should
this,
all be fucking pissed.
I totally fucking agree.
Yep.
Sorry.
No,
I
I don't
absolutely
give a
agree.
fuck who it is.
When I
Hang 'em
first
and
heard
hang
this,
'em.
Damn, dude. Yeah. No, seriously, all the satanic shit that happens, like especially with all like the more we learn about the Epstein files, the more it's like everybody owes every conspiracy theorist a fucking apology. Alex Jones, everybody owes you an apology, my man. Everybody owes Alex Jones a mother effing apology. Just saying.
sounds like conspiracy theory. This is BS. When I first heard this, I was like, "There's no
The
way.
Pizzagate shit?
There's no way this is happening. There's no way billionaires are killing kids."
Dude, I was fucking.
And you know what? I concede that we should have good
A lot of
signal
it's
here.
cutting
We're in the
out.
middle of it.
Yeah, we all owe Alex Jones an apology. We seriously, every single one of us, we all owe Alex Jones one big sexy apology because he was right about Pedo Island, bro. Alex Jones was absolutely correct about Pedo Island, bro. Giovanni Brown, what up, my brony, bro? Everybody, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. The more subscribers we have, the better. It does help the channel grow. So please do not forget to tap the subscribe button and also tap the like button too. It really does help the channel grow in more ways than one. Now, back to the show. Sort of. Hold on.
Yeah.
In the middle of the open air.
Yeah, hold on. All right, I'm on 5G. Huh?
Top G. By the way, TJ is a top G. Top G. Fair Game 2026 says, I said we owe Alex Jones an apology earlier tonight. Yeah, dude, everybody owes Alex Jones an apology. Yeah. Fair Game, absolutely. We all owe Alex Jones a fucking apology. We all... first off, I had a feeling that Alex Jones was unfortunately correct. I just didn't want to believe it. Because Alex Jones, honestly, whether you like him or not, man, he's a stud, dude. He's a stud. I think Alex Jones is the GOAT, bro. He's the GOAT.
I'm back on. Did it just go to that, probably? I don't know.
I don't know how long it's been.
Yeah.
All right.
But that was a good conversation. I hope it got on there. But yeah, it's but I mean, when you look at like the Podesta emails and the like all that stuff from WikiLeaks years ago and tie it all in with the Epstein stuff and Anthony Weiner laptops, like I think Epstein, I think is the tip of the iceberg. I think it goes. I think that's
LV Script says, "You think people have woken up?" I think people have woken up. LV Scripts, I do. Hey, everybody, subscribe to LV Scripts. Everybody, make sure you subscribe to our channel, but subscribe to LV Scripts. Let's go.
it's just public disclosure. Like, here's this thing that's happening. Okay, now let us tell you about all the other shit. You know, like, I think they're making human-animal hybrids underground. You know, they got the deep underground military bases.
I will say that there are... I don't think... Yeah... I don't know if they're making human hybrids. I really hope they're not, because that would be kind of freaky if that was the case. I will say there are certain theories I'll entertain. Some theories do sound a little too far-fetched for me to believe. You know what's funny though? Pedo Island, the whole Pedo Island thing that Jeffrey Epstein did. When I first heard about that theory, I actually thought it made sense, and I wasn't surprised at all. I wasn't surprised. As I remember, I think I even told my dad back in the day, and he thought it was crazy. Turns out it was all true. We owe Alex Jones an apology. I don't think I need to apologize to Alex Jones because I think he's right. I wouldn't say most of the time, but I think he's right probably 70% of the time, because I think a lot of it's guesswork, and I think of a lot of it's research. Now, he has to put two and two together. You know, you can't have all the information at once, but Alex Jones is good at pattern detection and understanding where he's good. Here's the thing about Alex Jones. People don't realize Alex Jones is really good at following the money. Alex Jones is a pro when it comes to the art of following the money. Follow the money. That's all you got to do. Follow the frickin' money. and then you'll find out what the hell is freaking happening. No, Trump is exonerated, bro. Trump is absolutely exonerated. Trump is exonerated of everything. Trump is innocent, bro. Trump is innocent. He is innocent, man. Trump is the man. And I love Donald Trump, man. I think he's the best president of all time. Straight up, I think he's the GOAT, dude. I think Trump's the GOAT. I really do. I think Donald J. Trump is the greatest president we've ever frickin' had. I don't care how insane that is. By the way, we're currently at 8,366 subscribers. 8,366 subscribers. We are only, get this, we are only 34 subscribers away from hitting 8,400. So make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel as quickly as you can, so that way we can get to 8,400 by the end of the night. Let's keep going. But yeah, let's get to 8,400 by the end of the night. Let's go. All right. Okay. So let's keep going. Let's keep reacting. But yeah, you guys, don't forget to tap the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let's keep going, man. Let's keep reacting to this video. And by the way, TJ is the man. No, TJ's a fucking inspiration to me, man. TJ is a mother effing inspiration to me, bro. I love this guy.
Yeah.
Would you say you're a MAGA follower or far right conservative?
No, not far right.
Okay.
No, absolutely
Describe
not.
yourself so I don't mischaracterize you.
I like to call myself a disaffected liberal, like, because I mean,
precisely. I agree with TJ on this one. I'm not like, this is where TJ and I are very similar. I am not full on MAGA. Like, people think that because I like Donald Trump, people think that because I support Donald Trump, I'm all super MAGA. Ooh, no. In all reality, if you guys want to know the truth, the reason that I love Donald Trump is because he's a middle finger to the Democrat Party, and I feel like the Democrat Party has lost a lot of voters, especially the working class voters. I feel like the Democrats can't even define what a woman is. That's a problem. And I call it the insane left. The insane left has taken over the Democrat Party, and I believe that's the biggest issue that I've seen so far. But I have a lot of issues with the Democrat Party. And one of the reasons why I don't vote Democrat anymore is because they've lost me as a voter. They just have completely. The entire Democrat base is pretty much insane, in my opinion. They've all become too woke for me to want to even handle. I'm not a woke guy. I don't like the woke stuff. It really pisses me off that, like I said, they can't define what a woman is. They can't. I feel like that these people have been so disconnected from reality. The entire Democrat base is so disconnected from reality. They think that socialism's a good idea. They think communism's a good idea. They think that Karl Marx was a visionary. He had a vision, but it was a shitty one. And I just think that a lot of people, I just think that everybody's got the wrong ideas. I think the Democrat Party the problem is in the Democrat Party, all the shitty ideas have been made very popular. And the problem with the Democrat Party is they don't really celebrate any good ideas anymore. They don't celebrate good ideas. They celebrate crappy ones, and they celebrate crappy people. So I don't know. Yeah, no, here's the thing. I refuse to... What's up? How's it going, everybody? Hey, thank you for everybody in the chat. I do see everybody in the chat, and I want to thank you guys for even being here right now. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to tap the like button, though. The more likes we get, the better. The more subscribes we get, the better. I just want to thank everybody for being a part of the show and being part of the experience. You guys are incredible. Let's keep watching.
In 2020, I liked Andrew Yang, and I liked Tulsi Gabbard, and that's about where I was.
Weren't they both running Republican?
No, they were both Democrats. Okay. And then
that is true. Andrew Yang ran as a Democrat, and Tulsi Gabbard at the time was running as a Democrat. Tulsi Gabbard defected from the Democrat Party because what were they doing? The Democrat Party was being too woke and too crazy. And Tulsi Gabbard was thinking to herself, screw this. I am not woke and I'm not crazy. So I am not going to be part of the Democrat agenda. Yeah. Look, I'm not a big fan of the Democrats at all. The Democrats just piss me off, man.
And they chose Joe Biden as the nominee in 2020, and I voted Trump over Biden.
Okay.
And that's...
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. 100%. You want to know why you want to know why people voted for Trump over Biden? Because people knew that Biden was not capable of running a country. It was pretty fucking clear. But yet, Joe Biden still won. Somehow, some way. But I will say redemption happened. Redemption happened in 2024 when people slowly realized that we were on the wrong track under Biden. So you know what happened? America manned up and put up, and we elected Donald Trump and J.D. Vance in 2024. Trump and Vance 2024, baby. I'm a huge fan. No, I love J.D. Vance. I think that J.D. Vance will make an excellent president. If you guys think that J.D. Vance needs to be the president in 2028, please subscribe to the channel. If you guys love Donald Trump as much as I do, please subscribe to the channel. Let's kick ass, dude. If you guys love TJ as much as I do, TJ is the guy who's interviewing this Greg guy. Still not the biggest fan of Greg. Don't think he's necessarily a bad person, just a very frustrating one. But yeah. Please subscribe to the channel. Let's go.
Kind of, but yeah, I wasn't.
So you're You said
A disaffected liberal.
disaffected liberal. I would describe myself as a democratic socialist, and
Oh, gross. Oh, a democratic socialist. Stop it, dude. That's like taking two. First off, democracy is a stupid idea on a federal level. The reason that democracy is a stupid idea on the federal level is because you do not want the entire public of the United States to determine the laws on the federal level. This is why we have a representative system and not a full-on democracy. We're only a partial democracy, not a full-on democracy at the federal level. Please realize that it's better that way. And the reason it's better that way is because we don't want the entire populace of the U.S. trying to decide every single year or every 2 years what the new laws should be at the federal level. This is why we have representatives for each state. The representatives represent the interests of the people of their respective state. It's as simple as that.
I would say that you and I, and even if you were MAGA, I would say that you and I have far more in common than you and any billionaire.
Oh yeah, and I say I say that to all these people here. But
Well, honestly, I think here's the thing. I'm going to be a little contrarian on this quite a bit. I think it's overrated to look for commonalities in people. I'll tell you why. Two of my best friends, Billy and Nathan, we don't have like a shit ton in common. We do have some things in common, obviously, but we don't have like a ton of everything in common. We're not like the same types of people. Like, for instance, I enjoy playing Magic the Gathering with these guys. I love them. We love, we're all three of us, we go on the internet quite a bit. We got that in common. We enjoy going on message boards and stuff like that. We enjoy going on YouTube and, we enjoy a little bit of counterculture humor as well. We enjoy anime and stuff. So we do have things in common. That's great. But, we don't always need to have these things in common to enjoy each other's company. In fact, I honestly enjoy the fact that Nathan and Billy both have different minds. The way we think about things, the way we even problem solve is not always very similar. So I think that really trying to find common ground or commonalities between people, even strangers, whether it's friends or strangers, I think can be a little overrated. I don't think you always need common ground. I think you just need to... I just think it's good for everybody to try to have the desire to at least make their best effort to understand. For example, this Greg guy, I'm not the biggest fan of this guy, but I do try to understand him, right? I haven't been a big fan of the way he's treated TJ in the past, but I will admit I like to give people the opportunity for a little bit of redemption, right? I think it's great that he's actually treating TJ pretty kindly. This is great. I'm happy about this, man. They're not yelling at each other, and this is the way it should be. I don't care how different people think; they just shouldn't yell at we shouldn't be yelling at each other. I mean, sometimes it happens, unfortunately, but it's human nature. Human beings tend to get. We're all human. We're all at the end of the day part animal. Human beings are just a different kind of animal at the end of the day. And are we more evolved? Sure, absolutely. Yeah, and here's the thing: I'm not a big fan of party politics. To be honest, I think I would rather vote for an independent rather than a Republican or a Democrat. I would rather vote for somebody who's a part of just their own morals. I think voting along party lines can be detrimental in a lot of ways. I want to vote for somebody I just firmly believe has my best interests at heart. Not just mine, but other people's, but I believe for the country itself, that sort of thing, I don't know. Do I think commonality matters at all? No, I don't think it really matters. If you're talking to me, Linc York, Lindsay York, I don't know, man. I don't think I think common ground is a little bit overrated. I think trying to find common ground at all times is a little bit stupid. Stephen Prolix says Bernie Sanders is an independent. Is he? Well, if Bernie Sanders is such an independent, didn't he run as a Democrat, though, when he was running in the presidential race? But wait a minute. I thought Bernie Sanders was running as a Democrat in, was it in the race? Was it in 2016? It was either in 2016 or... hold on. It was either in 2016 or 2020. I can't remember. Crazy, though. Just in the primary to get noticed, got ya.
I don't necessarily think...
I mean, I consider Bernie Sanders a communist at the end of the day. I think that Bernie Sanders is a lifelong politician who just loves communism. I do believe he's a little bit of a champagne communist. And the irony is that Bernie Sanders has actually benefited far more from capitalism than communism ever could benefit him. So, I don't know. I think capitalism actually helps. Here's the thing about capitalism. Capitalism brings more people out of poverty, whereas communism creates poverty. That's the difference.
The Republicans only support the billionaire class. I mean, there's just as many billionaires that were supporting Kamala Harris as there was Donald Trump.
Sure. And, but in so much as like billionaires supporting Democrats or billionaires supporting Republicans, Democrats passed 3 bills that did a lot to help us common people.
I don't know. I hate the argument that some of these bills that are out there are to help the common people. For instance, the Inflation Reduction Act created more inflation, for example. That's just an example of the government trying to do too much and actually making things worse. Look, whenever the government tries to interfere in the people's lives and tries to make things better, it just makes things worse. And that's a big point I like to try to make. And hopefully people realize that. Probably don't. That's okay, though. So my boy Jim at Yager's Farm says, there you are. What up, Yagers, my boy? My homie. So Eastside says, host clearly doesn't understand what communism actually is. No, I absolutely understand what communism is. It's where the government controls the means of production, essentially, and distributes everything in what they consider evenly. No, the government should control virtually nothing. The government should be small. That's the whole point. When government is too big, government creates too many problems and creates an unstable society. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. Yeah, my boy Yagers is saying he's getting some chocolate chip cookies and milk. Yeah, now, yeah, dude, little snacky, hell yeah. So Eastside, for you to say that I don't understand communism is absolute bullshit, dude. Communism is collectivism at its root. Look, collectivism of any kind is poison. and giving the government too much power to control any sort of means of production or distribution is irresponsible and it's unethical at the end of the day. Simple as that. Simple as that. You know that communism sucks ass, and if you tell me otherwise, I don't really give a shit. Let's keep going. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you guys think that communism sucks. If you guys think that government shouldn't have that much power over people's lives, subscribe to the channel because the government sucks and the government creates more problems than it solves. Let's keep going. Mic drop.
The Inflation Reduction Act, the Science and Chips Act, the Infrastructure Act. Those are three things that
two of those had money for
huge.
Ukraine in them, though.
Still, they were policies, they were laws that had huge benefits for the people, and relate that to Trump and the one law he passed in his first 4 years, and the one law he's passed in the last year, and the major law that George Bush passed before that. And those are three giant tax cuts for the richest Americans and the richest corporations, right? Like,
well, first off, I think tax cuts for corporations is not a bad thing. Why not cut the taxes for corporations? Why should corporations have to pay a hefty tax? They're already providing a product and a service, so why should a corporation be taxed? Whereas I think it's okay to tax people. To be honest, I think it's okay to tax people. You want to know why? Because at the end of the day, people are not unless you're like producing a business or whatever. I think corporations deserve all the tax breaks they can get. If I'm going to be honest, because those corporations are already helping with the infrastructure of society by providing products and services. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
That was 3 to 4% during Bush. It was 2.5% during Trump's first term, and now it was 3% during Trump's second term, 3.5% or something like that. That's 12% tax cuts for the richest Americans in 12 years, or 20 years. Like that's.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it was
reduction.
an attempt to bring these companies back to the United States so that there's jobs. Like I remember. Growing up, I mean,
but Joe Biden was bringing back TSMC to the U.S. by paying for a manufacturing center to be built here, right? That was the $3 billion in the Science and Chips Act, and it was like, well, wait, it might have been $300 billion. I might be off by a factor of 100 there, but $300 billion. It's still way less than the $4.6 trillion of the current tax cut. Right. Like that is killing our budget right now, and we're just suffocating under our national debt.
You know what I wrote notes about today, and I forgot my notes at home. Is this bill IP28?
I will happily give you a platform to Google.
Okay.
If you want to look something up and give me some information.
28 Oregon. Okay, so it's all right. So it's called the People for the Elimination of Animal Cruelty Exemptions Act, and what it's going to do is it's no more fishing. You can't fish. You can't hunt. You can't raise animals for let's see here. Impact on
Nate Dogg is saying if people aren't producing, then what are jobs? No, true point. So here's the thing. What I'm saying is that businesses are creating a framework. They're creating systems, right? These corporations are created with systems intact, right? The systems are valuable. Now, the question is, which is more valuable? The system or the people within the system itself that are working for the company? I got to admit I don't have a firm answer on that because I still wrestle with that question a little bit. But I will say this, don't get me wrong. Workers are important. In fact, I'm completely against workers being overtaxed as well. If we're going to make things fair, I think there should be a flat tax for every individual. I think corporations should be tax exempt. I mean that. I think rich people, like rich individuals, should be taxed at maybe 5%, right? No, and don't get me wrong, Nate Dogg, you're absolutely right on that. But without people, there is no system. Exactly. But what I am saying, though, which is more important, I mean, like, they're both important. You need the mix, laying the bricks, but you also need the company itself to create the vision, the purpose for the work, right? I'll give you an example. Think about Amazon, right? Amazon may not be the best example in the world, but it is an example. Think about Amazon, okay? Amazon created the vision. Jeff Bezos, as the CEO, as the founder of Amazon, created the vision of creating the store that sells everything, right? The online platform. Originally, it started out with books, but the whole goal of Amazon, the whole vision of Amazon was to sell everything to everyone online, right? They were going to be like the Walmart of online shopping. And they succeeded. Now, granted, the employees still matter. I'm not saying they don't, because they clearly do. So the systems that are in place, the visions that are in place, those are important. The automated systems that are in place, those are important. The people are important as well, right? The people work within the systems need the people need the systems, right? It's an effect. Now, the question is, though, should you overtax the employee? I don't think so. I don't think we should have that many taxes to begin with, if I'm going to be quite honest. But if we want to make things fair across the board, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're middle class, whatever class, right? I think there needs, and I believe this, there needs to be a flat tax for everybody, no exception, right? I think a 5%, and I mean it, 5% flat federal tax for everybody, no exceptions. No exceptions. I think that would solve a lot of problems. Granted, I will admit, tax exemptions, I do believe that tax exemptions are a good idea. For example, if you donate a lot to charity, I think you should use that as a tax. I think you can use that as a tax write-off. It deserves to be used as a tax write-off. But yeah, no, overall, there are legal ways to avoid paying taxes as well that not everybody is aware they could do. And granted, I love it when I don't have to pay tax. Anytime I could legally not have to pay tax, I'm a very happy person. I'm pretty stoked, man. Yeah, I don't really like paying a lot of taxes, no. I will admit, I do think a lot of the tax code is filled with mumbo jumbo. Granted, I do believe that. Another thing is, like Nate Dogg did say, you do need the employees, absolutely. But the employees need the system too. There is an ecosystem there. So, I mean, it matters. It matters. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I'm in love with Jeff Bezos, I guess you could say. Just, you guys, make sure you thank your billionaires. I'm glazing the meat, dude. I am glazing Jeff Bezos' meat right now. Okay, just kidding. JK. Let's keep watching this, though.
Agriculture and hunting. If passed, it would effectively criminalize hunting, fishing, trapping, and slaughter of livestock. Breeding and pets. Standard responsible breeding practices for livestock and domestic pets could be considered illegal, and some actions potentially reclassified as sexual assault of an animal. Pest control. The act, I just Googled this. The act would prohibit the killing of rodents or other vermin. Exemptions. Exceptions would remain for self-defense and veterinary practices. Humane Transition Fund. The initiative proposes a fund to provide...
What kind of crappy bill is this? See, this is why Oregon kind of sucks, everybody. If you guys want an example of why Oregon sucks, it's crappy bills like this that Oregon tries to pass in our own state that makes our state just stupid as fuck. It makes things ridiculous. It makes things a little ridiculous. I don't know. Oregon does stupid things sometimes. Hold on. Give me a second, my bronies. Major General Tao, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man? My brony brother. Major General Tao says the Constitution needs to be amended to limit taxes based on income and limit government spending. The central bank needs to be restricted and revised to print money and create and buy securities. Oh, God. Yeah. That's another thing, man. Government spends a little too much money. Also, the central bank, by the way, exactly, Major General Tao, I'm not a big fan of how much the Federal Reserve just says, hey, let's print money. Hey, everybody, let's keep printing money. You know, and that's just so stupid. I think it's the dumbest thing in the world to continuously print money. Say what you mean too says, hold on a minute, bronies. I'm not a real My Little Pony brony, but I do like calling my viewers my brony brothers. You heard it here, folks. I like to call you guys my brony baloney brothers. I call you guys the brones, bro. You guys are the brones. My pink brony bros. And we dance at the gay clubs, oh my God. We're just having fun on the stage in our hooves. I'm wearing a man thong. Trump has tried to stop wasteful spending, says Yager's Farm. Exactly. Brony exposed. I'm a brony, bro. I'm a pink brony, bro. And I dance at the gay club. I'm a brony! Pink brony, bro. Yager says Trump has tried to stop all the wasteful spending. It's tough. I mean, it's really tough to stop every single piece of wasteful spending, but they try. Let's see. Major General Tao says, I'm all for printing money, but buy assets at least. Yeah, I get that.
Grants for food assistance, job retraining, and conservation for those impacted.
Okay.
So
what's your?
I mean,
this seems like a tangent. Bring it home.
I can't live in Oregon if that passes. You know, it's gonna be on the November ballot. They got 112,000 signatures right now. They need 175,000. But what it's gonna do, like, I won't be able to slaughter my pigs. I have to let them die naturally. Oh, that's going to 10 years from now. I got to raise my pig for another 10 years before I can slaughter it. I can't slaughter my chickens. I can't hatch my eggs from my chickens. Like that destroys everything for me. You know, if they can't fish,
okay,
criminalize fishing. Right. I mean, then that means the only fishing that can be done is out in international waters, which is what, 200 miles out. And that's where all the big Chinese ships are and stuff like that fishing our waters.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's gonna destroy this town, you know, like they're I mean, and hunting.
That's an Oregon law.
Yeah, it's coming up in Oregon here.
That's like, it sounds the way you described it sounds not beneficial for our area.
No,
for sure.
No,
and you know what, like, I am for things that benefit our area, and I'm against things that don't. Right. I'm not that sided that I'm like, oh, just because it's a Democratic bill, I'm going to lean into it.
Right.
No, if it's bad for the area, it's bad for the area, and I'm not for it.
It's going to be detrimental. It's going to kill 10,000 jobs. Charleston will be dead.
But like, what I see is bad for the area is.
Major General Tao, what up, dude? Major General Tao just sent one Michael Garza membership to USA 4547. Let's give a shout out to USA 4547 for receiving a gift membership by my boy Major General Tao, and we got Michael Jaquan DeMarcus Garza is what Song Jones just said. What up, Song Jones? My pink brony bro. All right. But yeah, let's give a round of applause to Major General Tao for sending one Michael Garza gift membership. I really do appreciate it. USA 4547 just received that membership. Yager's Farm says, I forgot Oregon was a state. Yeah, we're a state, brother. I love Oregon.
Is the federal government?
I will say our Oregon government sucks, but I do love Oregon, though.
Government kind of pushing its authoritarian practices on us too, and so that's why we're out here marching.
Right.
And
Right.
I do agree with you. Oregon bill that is against the cruelty of animals, that prevents a farmer from being a farmer, is a problem.
Yeah.
Or that prevents a pet owner from enjoying their pet. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Or that prevents like any number of people from getting food. Right? Like, let's be real about our laws. But that's the thing. Like, our laws have to mean something. We're a constitutional republic, right?
Right.
And a constitutional republic depends on.
Oh my God, he actually admitted we're a constitutional republic. I'm actually surprised by this. Everybody says we're a democracy, and I always have to correct them. No, we're a constitutional representative republic. And yeah, we're not a democracy on the federal level at all. Hell yeah. Thank you again, Major General Tao. I appreciate the gift membership. It really does help out quite a bit, bro. Anytime anybody wants to give a gift membership, it goes to a random person, I think, that's a subscriber. So the more the merrier, man. The more the better. So we appreciate it.
On the Constitution being followed. And right now,
And that's why Trump's tariffs just went to the Supreme Court.
And floundered, because Article 1 of the Constitution is that the Congress has the ability to enact the language is taxes and tariffs.
Yeah, you wanna hear an odd take that I heard today that it almost kind of makes sense, is that Trump purposely used the IEEPA, which is the tariffs that he was
Emergency
doing. In order to put these tariffs in place to show how it's been misused in the past, and then it goes to the Supreme Court and gets shut down, and then he says, okay, I have these other powers, and these are the ones that I should be using. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes he sets traps for the Democrats to get mad about. Like, and I think he's kind of done it.
I do think, I honestly think that Trump plays 4D chess. I really do. I think that Trump plays a certain type of 4D chess. And people think he's dumb. I get that. I understand that completely. And, everybody's right to be...
Laugh out loud.
A little bit critical of Mr.
In a
Trump.
constitutional republic, there are wide gaps in literacy. We need to produce highly literate citizens. Our citizens now do not read or write.
That is true. Was that Major General Tao? I think that was Major General Tao. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat, man. Thank you, bro. You're a pink brony, bro. Thank you, dude. Let's give a shout out to the Major General Tao. I want to thank you, bro. Let's reply to this real quick. So let's see. In a constitutional republic, there are wide gaps in literacy. We need to produce highly literate citizens. Our citizens now do not read or write. I can get on board with this. I think public education has failed. Public education and current parenting has failed our children. I am not entirely sure what the solution is, though, to the poor performance. Oh, let's write that down. Here we go. There we go. Okay. But yeah, man. I got to agree, man. That's wild. All right, let's keep going.
With the Epstein files too, because I don't think he's in there doing anything wrong. Right?
I respectfully disagree.
But okay, yeah. But I think he got all the Democrats mad about this so that they would beg to see these files, and he releases a bunch of them. And then we find out that
I still think that he needs. I still think the DOJ needs to release the other 3 million files. I really think that needs to happen. They got to release more of those files, bro. They got to release more of those files.
he's an FBI informant too. You know, like we found out Trump was an FBI informant against Epstein at one point.
I didn't see that.
You didn't? You should look that up. Yeah,
But
look that
like
up.
what I saw was that there's a lot of complaints that have seemingly been uninvestigated that women have made, and Trump is named it.
Yeah, there is that one that was like highlighted in yellow. Do you know what I'm talking about? I
You
don't
always
remember.
have the representative you deserve.
There was one part
Usually
of
the
it.
news highlights things.
Yeah, well, no, it was highlighted when it was released or whatever.
Okay.
Interesting. Interesting. Let's take a look at Major General Tao's super chat, though. Major General Tao says, "You always have the representative you deserve." I'm going to replay that real quick. Let's replay that for everybody.
Laugh out loud.
You always have the representative you deserve.
Absolutely, brother. Without a doubt, 100%. Because sometimes, it depends on who people vote in, too. Sometimes people vote in the stupidest people, the stupidest representatives you could ever imagine, and it just makes things worse and worse. 100%.
It was highlighted in yellow, and it was a complaint about this woman saying, yeah, Trump did this to me, and blah, 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 right? And then, but then if you go, 1 year after that complaint was made, you find this woman going on CNN and retracting, her story, a year later. And who knows, maybe she was paid off to retract it, who knows? But she did come on and retract it, and the FBI found it as to not be credible, and that was not a Trump run.
So Stephen Prolux is saying, how does cutting funding produce smarter kids? Actually, on the contrary, I think getting rid of the Department of Education, which is a federally funded program, I think is actually a good thing. I think that education of the children needs to be on a state-by-state basis. Each state needs to have their own Department of Education, essentially. Each state needs to be responsible for the education of the kids. And there needs to be real reform. There needs to be real educational reform. I don't think that the Department of Education is a good thing. I think that the people in Washington, D.C. don't give two shits about your kids. That's why I think it's bad to have the Department of Education be a federal agency. I think that each state needs to have their own specific state Department of Education in some capacity. Should there be standards, educational standards? Absolutely, 100%. But at the same time, I still don't think the Department of Education was necessarily a good one. Yeah, Major General Tao says he could create a Department of Literacy and Competence, state-run, exactly. 100%. Thank you. That's a good comment, Major General Tao, exactly. I think, here's the thing. I think a lot of education needs to be figured out on the state level. We cut funding in 2003. Yeah, I don't know. I think that, here's the thing. I think that clearly that the kids were getting stupider. We've had the Department of Education for a very long time, and kids seem just as dumb as ever. So obviously it was pretty damn obvious that the Department of Education wasn't really doing anything for anybody, and it was just a waste of frickin' taxpayer money. It's a waste of taxpayer money. And here's the thing. I don't really want to pay for the education. Like, I live in Oregon. I don't want my tax dollars to have to pay for the education of somebody's kid in New York, for example. I don't want that. And I don't feel bad about saying that. I don't feel bad for saying that at all. Why should I? I absolutely don't, bro.
An FBI at the time that found it to not be credible. It was Biden run FBI. And but yeah, I don't know. But I just
think it's amazing that there are many, I don't even know the count. Like, it's got to be hundreds of allegations that he's implicated in. And I wonder what the other files
I do too.
have in it.
I want to know.
Like,
listen, you know what? Here's the thing, and I've said this from the very beginning. I don't care who it is, and I don't care.
Same boat.
If
Bill Clinton did this, go to jail.
Yeah, if it burns the fucking government to the ground by exposing these people, maybe the government was supposed to be burned to the fucking ground. And but
you know, we got to stop electing people that are just like brazenly dismissive of women's rights and of kids and of, you know, all these things that we like to think that make us a proud country.
right.
That's and yeah, again.
Yeah, I kind of want to go walk around a little bit, you know, like that's kind of why I come down.
I know.
But,
Hey, I appreciated our conversation.
I did too.
I really just.
I am actually kind of happy that Greg ended up talking to him. Like, that's kind of dope, man. Very interesting, very insightful, man. I appreciate that big time, bro. Hell yeah. Do you guys think that we should have Greg on our show? Raise the hands. You know, honestly, after that conversation that Greg and TJ had, I would talk to Greg. I mean, he and I would probably disagree like crazy, but because I'm a little crazy. I'm a little more crazy than TJ, I think. I don't know. TJ is actually just a more respectable person than I am. He's more respectful. TJ is just more respectful, but yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of a wild card overall, so. Yeah, I think I might have Greg on. I don't know. Next time, if I go to one of those Trump rallies, I should say the anti-Trump rallies, I should probably have talked to Greg or I could just reach out to Greg and be like, hey, you want to be on the Michael Garza Show? Be like, hey, Greg, you want to be on the Michael Garza Show? Yeah, okay. The more I, you know, seems like a... Give me a second. I'm clipping my nails, everybody. Sorry about that. Give me a second. Getting my nails all clipped out. Almost done clipping my nails. Hell yeah, everybody, give me a second. Getting these nails all clipped. Looking good. Almost done here. Uh-oh. Can I get a nail in here? Hold on. I think I might have got a nail in here. Hold on. Steven, you're killing me, bro. Yeah, we're almost done with the nail clipping, though. Hold on. Almost there. Hold on, everybody. Make sure you guys subscribe to Stocks Family Farm once again at Stocks Family Farm. TJ is an incredible dude. Make sure you guys subscribe to him. He's an amazing fella. I like to give him his flowers because he's just a really he's a baller, man. He's a baller. He's always balling. He's a baller shot caller. I don't know what that. I don't even know what that means. To be honest, he's a baller. Kicking butt, basically, is what I'm saying. Hold on, everybody. Gotta clip my nails. Hey, Steven, thank you for subscribing, man. Appreciate you. Let's keep it going.
Hang all the pedophiles, wood chipper, feet first.
Yeah, and tax the billionaires, man. Tax them. I don't. Elon Musk has doubled his wealth in the last year.
And by the way, here's the thing. When people's net worth doubles, that's an unrealized gain in net worth. You shouldn't tax somebody on the assets. The reason that billionaires don't pay tax on their net worth gains is because they haven't sold their assets. That's taxation 101, man. So billionaires should only be taxed on their realized gains. I repeat, billionaires should only be taxed on their realized gains and net worth. Just because somebody's net worth doubles doesn't necessarily mean
laugh out loud.
Doesn't necessarily mean that they just made more money. It means that the value of their assets have increased, therefore their net worth increases. Yeah, I think it's fine to take loans against hair done, check my nails, baby, how you doing? Baby, how you doing? Jeff Bezos' official salary is $80,000 per year, but every time he goes up in that rocket, it's $200 million. So give me a break. Oh man. Yeah. Well, hey, I appreciate you, Steven, for subscribing to the channel. Let's give another shout out to Steven Prolux. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel, Steven. We appreciate you here. You're a pink brony bro. And we dance at the gay clubs, oh my God. We're just having fun on the stage in our hooves. We're wearing a man thong. Let's keep going, bro.
It's not like he
had 390 million. Now he has 860 million. $860 billion.
Well, I mean,
How-
okay, so
can I say
that's
something?
investments on a large scale. Think about someone like me who has silver at home that I bought at a lower rate, and I've made. Should I have to pay taxes on what I've made on the silver? Even
You
if I
want
don't
to you want to
sell
know
it?
my personal belief?
No, I believe realized versus unrealized matters, and I don't know if TJ is going to bring this up or not, but there's a difference between realized gain and unrealized. So, like let's say I bought silver. Let's say I bought $100 worth of silver at an average cost of $10 per ounce, right? But let's say that the price of silver goes up from $10 an ounce to $100 an ounce. But let's say I don't sell that. Let's say I don't sell it. Cool. You know what that means? I don't get taxed on it. You want to know why I don't get taxed on it? Because I haven't sold it. The only time that you should ever get taxed on any sort of asset is when you sell it for a profit. You are taxed on the gains only, though. You are only taxed on the gains alone. Okay? That's all you're taxed on, bro. My pink brony bros, that's all you should be taxed on, baby.
In tax policy, I believe personally that we should tax wealth, not work. I believe that we should tax anyone that has $1 billion.
No, that's stupid. Why would you tax wealth? And here's the thing. If you tax wealth and you don't tax work, that's a problem. You want to know why? Because you should tax work, because then it gives incentive for people to invest. But but here's the thing. If you tax people's assets, if you tax the assets that people simply own for the sake of owning, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. There's already capital gains tax. What else do you want us to do? If I hold on to stocks and ETFs and stuff, and I don't sell them and I hold them for the long term, should I be taxed on simply holding them? Hell no. Yeah, unrealized gains. By the way, an unrealized gains tax, Major General Tao, I think would penalize anybody who owns. So let's see why. So Nate Dogg is asking why does taxing wealth mean you wouldn't tax work? No. I think that. By the way, if any sort of income I make, I'm taxed on it. Any sort of asset that I sell, I'm taxed on it, by the way. If I start, I'll give you an example, Nate Dogg. If you own gold or stocks or anything and you decide to be a long-term investor and you hold on to those stocks and they appreciate in value 2 or 3 times what they were before, for example, should you be taxed on the gains that are actually unrealized? Because if you're holding on to those stocks and you start getting taxed on the unrealized gains, in a lot of ways, getting taxed on unrealized gains is highly unethical because you haven't sold anything. The value of the assets that you hold have increased, but if you haven't sold anything, why should you be taxed on the assets that have remained unsold? I find that to be extremely unethical. And yeah, I think you should be taxed on. Look, I get anytime I sell any shares, anytime I swing trade metals, I get taxed. I get taxed on the realized gains, though. There's a big difference. When I sell and I make a profit, I get taxed on the profit. I absolutely deserve to be taxed on the profit. Totally fine with that. But if I'm getting taxed on the assets that I'm simply holding, that's where I draw the line. I should be able to hold any asset that I want and save it for as long as I want without being taxed on simply holding it, right? If people want to hold on to their assets, because here's the thing, the value of the asset itself can fluctuate. Stocks, for instance, can dip 30%. I think it's unethical to tax any unrealized gains. It's only ethical to tax realized gains. And that's the big fundamental difference for me. Now, as far as work goes, yeah, I think people should be taxed on on their work as well. For example, anytime I do delivery driving, I mean, I write off my miles, of course, so that way I'm not taxed on as much income, and yeah, we're also taxed by inflation too. That's another big point by Major General Tao. We're constantly taxed by inflationary forces because the dollar is constantly being devalued and debased. So one of the biggest things that we need to realize is we should always hold on to our assets and not our cash, because our cash is constantly being duplicated and duplicated and duplicated on a massive scale. So let's see. So Steven is saying his dad was getting 10% certificate of deposits in the early 90s. That's insane, bro. Steven also says, for crying out loud, you and I have to pay 29% on our credit cards, but yet when we go to a bank and store all our money, we get 2% if we're lucky. Absolutely. That's one of the reasons why I believe even high-yield savings accounts are a total Ponzi scheme, and I hate them. I hate high-yield savings accounts. Total ripoff. I'd rather just keep it all in bond. I mean, I'm not a big fan of bonds, but I would rather keep it into a bond ETF than anything else if I had to save money, if I thought it was a good idea. Nate Dogg is saying, I agree unless the government plans on refunding unrealized holdings when there's a loss. It's too complicated. When a loan is taken on held assets, it should be treated as realized, though. I tend to disagree with that because, and here's the thing, I'm like one of those guys, I hate taxation to begin with, so I try to take out my own personal biases on this one because I got some crazy biases against taxation. But I will say this. So you're saying when a loan... So Nate Dogg, I'm trying to dissect this a little bit. So Nate Dogg is saying when a loan is taken on held assets. So like if I get a loan to buy, I don't know, 10 shares of Coca-Cola, but I get a loan to buy those 10 shares, it should be treated as realized, though not necessarily. Not exactly. And I'll tell you why. Think about it this way. Let's say I get $1,000 loan to buy $1,000 worth of shares of Coca-Cola, for example, right? And I decide that, I don't know, maybe I decide to hold on to those shares of Coca-Cola. I can pay back the loan. I can choose to pay back the loan using other means if I have other means of income besides my shares of Coca-Cola. I shouldn't be taxed on that loan, right? I should not be taxed on that loan in any way, shape, or form. However, if I decide to sell the Coca-Cola stock, regardless of whether there's a loan or not, if I decide to sell the Coca-Cola stock and I happen to have a profit, I deserve to get taxed on that profit if and only if I sell the Coca-Cola shares at a profit. The only time it's ethical to tax an asset is if you sell the asset, not when you buy it. I believe that the taxation of, like, if I decide to buy Coca-Cola stock, I should never be taxed on that for buying it, right? If I want to buy it and I want to hold it, that's up to me. If you want to tax me on the dividends that Coca-Cola sends me, fine. That's in a sense a realized thing. I'm actually getting cash flow from that. There's real cash coming to me, right? Just because the value of Coca-Cola increases, just because the value of the Coca-Cola stock increases doesn't mean you should tax me at all. And what I'm trying to get at is this. If I decide to hold on to Coca-Cola for 5 years and it doubles or triples or quadruples or whatever price, I shouldn't be taxed on it. You want to know why? Because I haven't sold it. If I haven't sold it, If I haven't sold this asset, there's nothing to tax. I don't care how big the value of that asset gets. The only time I should be taxed on that asset is if I sell it. Now, there is long-term capital gains tax. So if I buy Coca-Cola shares and I hold on to those shares for a year, and then I decide to sell for a profit, I get a lesser tax rate on that sale, on the profit itself, than anything else. So Nate Dogg is saying, let's see, you got it backwards. It's not the purchase, it's the collateral. So let me make sure I understand this. So Nathan, are you saying that we should get, and I want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. So you're saying that, hold on. I'm kind of thinking this in my head real quick. I'm trying to really I'm a little tired at the moment, so I might be having a little trouble conceptualizing. Let me try to think about this real quick. It's not the purchase, but the collateral. So you're saying because I purchased, so in this hypothetical scenario, you're saying that because I purchased those Coca-Cola shares with borrowed money, that should change the taxation part of it. Is that what you're saying? Okay, Navy SEAL 2K is saying, okay, then tax loans on that. Oh, okay, so it's the loan that's the problem. And here's the thing. I actually believe that you should never get taxed on loans. Period. End of story. How would you feel? Another hypothetical scenario. Nathan, when you purchased your car, you got it on a loan, right? You got a loan for that car. Did you have to pay tax on that loan? And if you did let's say like in a world where you did have to pay tax on a loan, I mean, technically your car is an asset, even if it's a depreciating one. So by some of those rules, you would have to pay. How would you feel about paying a tax on any kind of loan? Because if you get a loan for a car, for example, you know what I mean? Because getting a loan for a car at the end of the day is really no different than getting a loan to buy a house or stocks. I mean, obviously the principles are different, but a loan is a loan at the end of the day. It's borrowed money. So when you get money, when you get a loan, when you borrow money to get a car, should you be taxed on that loan? I don't know. I don't.
People own stocks and borrow at low rates to avoid capital gains.
People own stocks and borrow at low rates to. Yeah, I mean, personally, I love borrowing money. I actually love using margin, for example, in my brokerage account. It's kind of fun, and luckily, I'm not like an all-in investor, so I don't have a lot of like risks in using margin because I use it very responsibly. But like, I love borrowing money to get stocks from time to time, you know, especially if I'm going to get in and get out and be very liquid with it. It's a good way for me to make a little extra dough. So I don't know. Let's see. But Major General Tao says, let's just put this back. Let's run this super chat back. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Major General Tao.
Own stocks and borrow at low rates to avoid capital gains.
Yeah. This is very true. And honestly, I love borrowing money. Using margin to get stocks from time to time. Not all the time, of course. LOL. Laugh out loud. Laugh out loud. Let's see. But yeah, no, it's a good point. Let's see. Let's keep watching this, though, real quick. Here, let's keep watching this real quick.
We're going to tax you.
No, but Nathan, I do see what you're saying. I actually do get where Nathan's coming from on this one. I got to admit, I don't, like, as much as I understand the concept of, I understand the concept of taxing alone, I just don't agree with it, I think is the problem. I just think that taxes are rarely the solution. I do think that there needs to be a flat tax on actual income, whether it's realized capital gains, whether it's working income. I think there just needs to be a flat tax at the end of the day and just call it good. Loans on stocks are not necessarily margin gaze. True. I mean, margin works a little bit different, quite a bit differently than an actual loan, but I prefer margin though. Margin's just easier to maintain for me because I have a hyper diversified portfolio, and I don't really go overboard with my margin usage. I'm pretty sparing with it, but let's keep going.
Give us a sum of all those different companies you own.
$1 billion in liquidity or $1 billion?
That's just $1 billion in assets. Not liquidity, assets. If you have $1 billion, if you a person have $1 billion, or you a company have $1 billion,
you shouldn't be taxed on having those assets. Why would you be taxed on just having those assets? This is what Greg. I'm gonna probably end up disagreeing with Greg on this, and that's okay. But I really think that just because you own $1 billion of assets doesn't mean you should just be suddenly taxed on it. I think that's stupid. Just because you have more than somebody doesn't mean that you have the right to have more of it taken away. You know? Like, whether you have $1 million or $1 billion worth of assets, that should not matter. How many assets you have should not, just because you have $1 billion worth of assets doesn't mean you should just suddenly get taxed a whole bunch on just owning them. That's not very, it's just not a good idea.
We need a wealth tax on that money. If you
No, we don't. That's how percentages work. Well, yeah, but here's the thing, Nathan. If you own $1 billion, let's say you did own $1 billion worth of stock, but you never sold it, right? Let's just say you never want to sell your stock, right? Let's just say you're like Warren Buffett. You want to have billions of dollars of Coca-Cola stock or whatever, and you decide, hey, I don't want to sell it. I just want to take in the dividends. Sure. Tax Warren Buffett on the dividends. That's fine because that's realized cash flow, right? Just because the value of Coca-Cola stock goes up and you happen to be holding it for the long term and never sell it, yeah, I don't think you should be taxed on the amount of assets you have. Just because I have $1 billion net worth, like let's say I don't, but like let's say I did. If I had $1 billion worth of assets and I suddenly get taxed on those assets just because I own them and they all happen to be worth $1 billion, that's not fair. And to those people who are saying, well, it's not fair that they're a billionaire and I'm not. No, it totally is fair. Because they created a business. You know? I don't know. If you create a business and you make $1 billion from that business, or if you have, $1 billion net worth because of the assets that you held from that business, you've earned it. I think you've earned it. And I don't think you should be taxed on just owning those assets. Now, if you sell those assets, granted, if you sell your assets for cash, then you should be taxed on it. Absolutely 100%. But if you're holding those assets for the long term and you just want to hold them, You shouldn't be taxed on them because you're not selling anything. Just because somebody has $1 billion net worth doesn't mean you have the right to tax them for it. Just because somebody has $1 million net worth doesn't mean you should have the right to tax them for their assets just because they hold them. That's fucking lunacy. I believe that's lunacy. And you would literally be taxing people on unrealized gains. The difference between realized versus unrealized matters whether you're a millionaire, a billionaire, or fucking Joe Schmo, you know? And I would hate to live in a world where I get taxed on my unrealized gains. I would hate to live in that world. That would be a bullshit world in my opinion. Now, if we're going back to the whole loan thing, I don't know. I don't know if I should be taxed on the loan because I already have to pay interest on the loan to begin with, right? What incentive would there be for me to get a loan if not only I have to pay interest on the loan itself, but now I also have to pay tax on the fact that I took out a fucking loan? That sucks. I mean, I'm not trying to like. I just think it's a bad idea. I've never been. I just don't like the idea, and that's just me personally. I mean, granted, I just don't think it's ethical. I don't care whether the person has $30,000 to their name, 100,000, a million, or $1 billion. I don't care what your net worth is. If you're just going to start taxing people on the assets that they own for the long term, I think that's ludicrous.
Have less than $1 billion, no fucking wealth tax at all. And I think,
and this is the problem. I think it's okay that billionaires exist. I am totally fine with billionaires existing. Why should the billionaires retard their assets because you think they shouldn't have it? Why should Jeff Bezos have less assets because what? You think that somehow, I think having billionaires is fine. I don't give a shit if somebody's a billionaire. Because here's the thing, if they created a business and enough people liked their business to contribute to that, I'm actually a little shocked by this. Like, this is just, this Greg guy, I think he just, I don't know.
we shouldn't tax wages.
I
think that the money you earn should be your money, and I think capital gains should be taxed at a higher rate than wages.
That would be my silver, like, for example.
I think first off, I think capital gains should be taxed less. To be honest, seriously, I think capital gains should be taxed less. And if you want a fairer world, whether it's wages, look, I get taxed on dividends, for God's sakes. Anytime I sell stocks, I get taxed on the sale of the stock but on the profit alone. So don't tell me I'm not paying my fair share. And if billionaires want to own all these things, all these assets, they have every right to own these assets without you taxing them. And this is where societies start to degrade, is if you start taxing people who are wealthy, the wealthy people are just going to become resentful. And they're not going to want to start big businesses. They're not going to, because the only reason that people want to become billionaires is there's an incentive there, right? I'm not saying I want to be one, but who are we to tell somebody that, hey, if you have over $1 billion worth of assets, I guess we need to tax you now? That's stupid. Like, I would be, like, I'm not a billionaire, but if I were a billionaire, like, I would be pissed. I would legitimately be pissed. And you know what's scary? And people don't realize this, but let's say this. if you start normalizing unrealized gain taxes on billionaires, then you start eventually normalizing unrealized gain taxes on millionaires. And then you start normalizing unrealized gain taxes on the standard person. It's a trickle-down effect, and not in a good way. Because if you start taxing unrealized gains on billionaires, like I said, you eventually, the government is insidious. The government is insidious. Nate Dogg says if Walmart went under, 1,000 small businesses would take its place. But the reason that Walmart does so well is because it's so effective. It's more effective than those small businesses at the end of the day. Because Walmart has good systems and formulas in place that make it to where it's a better system. And then one of the reasons they have low prices is because that's kind of their overall mission. I prefer shopping at Walmart than some small businesses. There are some small businesses I enjoy shopping at. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against small businesses, by the way. But just because I'm not against small businesses doesn't mean, because I'm not. I love small businesses, but I also am totally fine with corporations existing. I believe they can exist. If a company has a good product, look, if people hate Walmart so much, then why do people still shop at Walmart, right? If people say that porn is so bad, why is porn so popular? What I'm trying to get at is this. We say that we hate all of these things, right? If we don't want by the way, if you don't want Jeff Bezos to be a billionaire, just stop shopping at Amazon. If you don't want the Walton family, the people who own Walmart, the children of the heir Sam Walton, which I think they've kind of run Walmart into the ground a little bit. If you don't want them to make money, stop shopping there. And I mean that for everybody. But here's the thing. The reason that people still shop at Walmart is because Walmart does a good job at making it to where you know what I mean? It makes it to where like manufacturers have a place to have their stuff, to sell their goods. Like these companies can sell their goods and stack the Walmart shelves pretty easily. And I think it's just, I think having major retail chains is a good thing. And look, I love Walmart. I'm not afraid to admit it. I love Walmart. I love Amazon. But I love small businesses too. I shop at small businesses whenever I can. But no, here's the thing. It's not that I feel bad for Jeff Bezos for being taxed. It's that if the government thinks it can tax billionaires on unrealized gains, the government will eventually think it's a good idea to tax millionaires on unrealized gains. And then eventually they'll start taxing the average citizen on unrealized gains because, look, we did it to millionaires and billionaires, so maybe we should start taxing you on your house. Maybe we should start taxing you on the unrealized gains of your house, little Timmy. You see, it's a trickle-down effect. Because the government is irresponsible and shitty. I honestly have zero faith in the government. So this is why I don't think taxation solves problems. And in all reality, I think that taxation, especially on unrealized gains, is the stupidest thing in the world. I don't care whether you're a billionaire or a millionaire or anything. They already tax average citizens? Huh. So Major General Tao is saying, let's trickle up. Hold on. So they already tax average citizens. Let's trickle up. But yeah, here's the thing, though. What I'm trying to say is if you start taxing unrealized gains on billionaires, the government can start justifying it on anybody is what I'm trying to get at. The government is so good at doing this. They're saying like, hey, Guess what? We're going to do it on the billionaires. Don't worry. We're only going to do this on billionaires, but we're never going to do it to you. Don't worry. We're never. And then 10 years down the road, they start taxing unrealized gains on people's fucking houses. And that would honestly be chaos. And that's another reason why I think that government is poison. And I don't think that honestly, the less that government is involved in our lives, the better. I don't mind having taxes, but the only time we should have taxes is on the sale. Taxes on assets should be restricted to the sale of the asset itself. Should be restricted to the sale of the asset itself and only the profit that is gained from the asset itself. That is it. End of story. Nothing else. I don't care, because if you start taxing unrealized gains, that's unethical. It really is. I don't care. Like I said, I don't even care if somebody's a billionaire getting taxed at unrealized. I am ethically bound, especially as somebody who studied enough economics, that the taxation of unrealized gains is another form of robbery that the government can eventually impose on the people. We need to fight back against that. Because if you start justifying unrealized gains taxation on one class of citizen, it eventually affects all classes of citizens. It starts with the billionaires, and then the next is the millionaires, and then the average citizen gets taxed on unrealized gain. It's a trickle-down effect, is what I'm saying. And when I say trickle-down, I mean government fucks people over in this instance. But yeah, I am absolutely vehemently against the taxation of unrealized gains. Major General Tao says you could argue that a loan based on the collateral is a form of realized gains. But yeah, you should only still be taxed on the profit, though. Yeah, you should still only be taxed on the profit of the sale. Even if you get a loan. Right? So, I mean, like, here's another example. Let's say you get a mortgage for a home, right? I don't know, you buy a home for $30,000 in 1990. And then suddenly the home goes up to $200,000, or let's just say for easy math, $230,000, right? So that would be a $200,000 unrealized gain in that sense. Well, let's say you decide to still keep the house, but let's say they start taxing on unrealized gains, right? Let's say they start taxing on unrealized gains, and suddenly, you know, you have a $200,000 profit unrealized from this one house that you bought in 1990, okay? Suddenly the government starts taxing you on the unrealized gains of that house. Do you know how much tax you'd have to pay? A house is still an asset, by the way, and if you got a mortgage on it, like, I don't know. I'm still even against. I don't know. I still don't think you should tax a loan at all. Period. End of story. I just think it's stupid. Honestly, the less taxes, the better. I think that I'm actually a little sad that people are so pro-tax on these things. I'm not like, I think that taxes still need to be paid. But we should not be actively wanting government to tax more things. Trust me. It doesn't make society a better place. I know it seems like the more people get taxed that things will get better, right? Honestly, I think that's the downfall of most societies, that we think that we could tax a problem away. Honestly, we can't tax a problem away. History proves time and time again that the more societies try to tax problems away, taxing the rich doesn't solve the problem. If we're going to be honest, taxing rich people doesn't solve the problem. I think everybody should be taxed at a fair rate, 5% flat tax for everybody, rich, poor, or anything. I think whatever income you're getting, whether it's dividend income, whether it's capital gains income, whether it's working income, I think a 5% flat tax. Period. End of story. That's where I draw the line. That's where the line should be. If you start taxing people on unrealized gains, I think that's the worst thing you could ever do. I think taxation of unrealized gains is probably one of the most unethical things in the world. Look it up. I would say look it up, because there's a lot of papers that have been written about the taxation of unrealized gains that people would just be like, you would look at those papers and be like, okay, I see where Michael's coming from. On an economic standpoint, I think it makes the economy worse. Hold on. Oh. My boy Major General Tao says, if I reform the Fed, you could eliminate all federal taxes. Then the states would be simpler to tax. Yeah, to some degree, yeah. Sure. That's an interesting take. Let's try to... I'm sorry, I got too caught up in this discussion about unrealized gains and stuff like that. Unrealized gains taxation and stuff. But yeah, if you want to tax billionaires, millionaires, and the common people on realized gains, I'm all for it. I am so all on board, because realized gains, because you're basically, a realized gain is after the sale takes place. Unrealized gains is there's no sale. How can you tax something if there's no sale? You know, so the moment it's sold, sure, the person who's selling the asset of any kind, the moment it's sold, sure, if there's a profit of like $20, you tax them on that $20, whatever the profit may be. And then you call it a day. But if somebody has a 100% net worth increase from unrealized gains, that's not a problem to me. I don't see that as a bad thing. And you know what? People act like all these millionaires and billionaires just have millions of dollars in the bank. Most of their net worth is tied up in the stocks that they hold. So they would have to sell their shares of their company just to pay a tax on unrealized gains. Do you know how annoying that is and how stupid and unethical? I think it's unethical. I don't care whether you're a billionaire or not. Getting taxed on any form of unrealized gains is a bad idea. It's just a bad idea. Even if there was a loan. Even if there was a loan involved to get those assets. I just think it's a bad idea. And it creates more problems than it solves.
Silver I have at home, I made it like a couple $1,000s off of all my silver that I bought. Like, should I have to pay taxes on the extra, even though like it went up to 120 like a month ago, and it's back down to 78, 85 something like that, yeah. And does that mean I should have to pay taxes on like when it was at 120 or when?
Well, and the problem with these Democrat socialists like this Greg guy, like I'm not hating on him too much because he is treating TJ better, so I'll give him props on that. But one thing he gets wrong is, and just like TJ mentioned, assets, the value of assets can fluctuate. The value of your assets can fluctuate depending on markets, right? So this is why, like, let's say Tesla stock, let's say you owned Tesla stock and it goes up 1,000%, right? You never sold it, but then you get taxed on 1,000% gain, right? Okay. But you never sold it. But let's say the value of Tesla then plummets 50%. Uh-oh. That's a huge loss. Now you not only do you have to deal with the loss of value in your asset itself, you have to deal with the fact that you paid taxes on a gain that was never even realized. Navy SEAL 2K says then you get a tax credit. That's so fucking stupid. I don't trust the government to give me a tax credit. I don't trust the government to give me a tax credit, nor should I want to. I think the government should just stay out of my fucking business. I'm serious. The government should just stay the fuck out of my business. I don't trust the government. That's the difference between me and a lot of people. I don't trust the government, period. I accept the government exists, but at that point, I really don't trust. Then don't buy shares. That's stupid. If I buy Tesla and I don't sell Tesla, but the fluctuation of value goes up and down and up and down. Major General Tao says, Gaza, we're not going to tax unrealized gains. Relax. I'm sorry. It's a subject that really gets me heated. So I'm trying to keep my emotions. I'm trying to keep my emotions as even keel as possible. It's a subject I get very passionate about. Just because I'm somebody who likes to hold on to a lot of my shares for the long term. And I'm a long-term investor. And I would hate to suddenly one day see that I'm being taxed for simply holding an asset, for simply holding it and never selling it. And yeah, by the way, I get taxed on dividends. I widely accept that because I widely agree with that. If you're getting a dividend, you're getting a piece of income in some capacity. So when you get a dividend, you're getting taxed on that dividend. And that's completely fine.
When it, like...
So capital gains are the difference between when you bought it and sold it. Right? It doesn't matter what it got up to or what it got down to. It's the difference between what you bought and sold.
I'm thinking unrealized gains.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Okay, good. TJ's talking about unrealized gains. Good. Let's hear this out.
Those should be taxed for corporations. But like I as far as corporations go, I think stock buybacks are a horrible thing, and I don't think corporations should be legal.
Stock buybacks are not a bad thing. If a company wants to buy back their shares to have less in circulation, that's actually benefits the shareholder in the end. And why is that a bad thing? If I'm an owner in Apple stock and Apple decides that they suddenly want to buy back some of their shares with some of the excess profits that they've had, okay, that's great, because you know what that does? That increases the value. That increases the value of the shares that I already own. If anything, it's actually a good thing for the shareholders. You know what's really bad for the shareholders is share dilution. You know what pisses me off are those penny stocks that continue to issue tons and tons and tons of shares and then have to do reverse stock splits. Do you know how fucking frustrating that is? They don't make that illegal, but it probably should be. So honestly, you know what? A share buyback is the least of my concerns. If I'm an Apple investor, buy back the shares, bro. Buy back the fucking shares. I'm fine with that. Absolutely fine. 100% fine with that. Absolutely. No, I'm all for share buybacks, though. I understand there are people who are very against share buybacks. I'm all for it.
Legally be allowed to own any stock of a company that owns stock in them. Because right now, that's like a huge Wall Street loop. Every fucking company owns every other company, and the amount of retail investors is less than 9%.
Right.
And all the...
Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing. I own a lot of stocks either way. Even if retail investors don't own a lot of stocks, I do. You want to know why? Because rich people own stocks, and rich people understand the power of ownership. So the fact of the matter is, ownership matters, and I love owning stocks. Let's keep going.
Stock is owned by major corporations, and the corporations themselves.
I like hard assets, things that can hold
stock buybacks used to be illegal. We made it legal, and suddenly there's this huge balloon in stock prices. But to answer your question on silver, I do think that at a certain amount of wealth, you should start being taxed.
Nope. I think that's stupid. That's stupid. It's stupid. It's dumb. So just because I have a net worth of $1 billion, so if I have a net worth of what, 999 million, I don't get taxed for holding. But once I get to $1 billion, you can't have $1 billion net worth. No. We at the government say you can't do that. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna start taxing you on the fact that you own $1 billion worth of assets. And that's idiotic. That's all I'm trying to say. And that's where it gets into very muddy waters. Then the government starts thinking it could tax on all these unrealized gains. Ooh. Trust me, it's something to be very concerned about, by the way.
What is that amount?
Million, 10 million,
Okay. Well,
somewhere in there, right? Like
as long as it's not a percentage, you know, like if you
I
have
think
like a
if you
certain
take the
percentage
bottom
gain.
75% of people, you look at their wealth and you make the wealth tax above that.
So above 75%.
So you take the bottom 3/4 of America and you say, what's the average income of what's the average assets of this class? Right, the middle class, the poor class, and even the upper earners in the middle class,
Right.
and say like, all right, they own about $500,000 of stuff, their property, their cars, all that.
Okay.
We'll put our tax at $750,000, or if their assets are $750,000, maybe we'll put our taxes at $1 million. Right, put it somewhere above the 3/4 of America, so that the top 25% pay.
Right.
And that top 1%, those 700 billionaires in America, they need to pay more, a lot more, because we just gave up healthcare. We're giving up Social Security in 5 years. In 4 years, Social Security goes insolvent. And back when Bill Clinton was president,
Oh, I mean, Social Security is a Ponzi scheme, straight up. Social Security is one of the biggest Ponzi schemes of all time. And I knew that it was eventually going to go bankrupt, and it probably will. I'm hoping it doesn't, because my dad's going to need to rely on Social Security here pretty soon. I told him to invest a long time ago, but, you know, just in case.
and it wasn't insolvent
They've been saying that for a while, though.
because
They're like,
of
oh, it's going to go.
Republican
it's gonna go
changes
gone, it's
to the
gonna go
program.
gone, It's going to go gone.
So in 2030, Social Security is only going to be able to pay out 75% of what it's paying out currently. That's what they mean when it's going insolvent.
Right.
There is a trust fund for the Social
Well,
Security.
doesn't that have to do with the lower birth rate too?
No.
Because the millennials, our generation, is
If
the
we
largest
kept the
generation
policies
ever.
back when Bill Clinton was around and the Republicans didn't change anything, Social Security would still be solvent. It's because Republicans changed the system.
And I always like to say that Donald Trump is a lot like Bill Clinton, like as far as policy wise.
How?
Immigration, for example, and a lot of his economic policies. I think.
Major General Tao says Social Security is trash for boomers, but we love boomers. Damn, $2,700 a month for a mortgage? Holy shit, bro. Damn.
They're very similar, and like wanting to build a wall and wanting to all that stuff. That was all Bill Clinton's idea, you know. I think like Donald Trump is a '90s New York Democrat, you know, and I think the Democrat Party has shifted to the point where, yeah, that's it.
So you think the Overton window is shifted towards the Democrats? I think it's shifted towards the Republicans, personally.
I think
Especially in the last few years.
in the last few years, I think, more people are starting to become conservative and start leaning more conservative. Definitely. I'm a little big. I want to go walk around.
Okay,
I'm just going to talk to people. Greg, yep, make sure to tell people that I'm nice.
The pleasure is always, TJ.
Okay. Oh my God. I only got an hour left. I might get one conversation. Two. Kevin here? I like that guy. He's really nice. You know who I'm talking about?
No.
He always stands way down at that end. And he says, what a great conversation. That was really good. You need to talk with this guy again, Stock. Yeah, me and Greg, we've talked a few times. But yeah, we've had our disagreements and we've had our agreements. But we've talked enough now to understand where each other's coming from. So, you know, and I'm not down here to disrupt or antagonize. I'm I'm here to bring our community together.
All right.
All right, buddy. I'm gonna finish this real quick. Hi, how are you? What's that?
You were working up for payment on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I'm working on it. Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, no, I'm not getting paid yet. But that's not why I do it, though. I'm not out here to try and get paid. Actually, my YouTube channel is mostly about my family and my farm. It's not really about my politics. I just happen to come out here and do this too. You know, but yeah, no, I have videos of me proposing to my wife and, you know, my kid opening Christmas presents and stuff like that. That's what my channel is really about. And the reason I started it was so that I could have saved the videos for my daughter to see when she gets older. And like, I even have a video on there. It says, to my daughter on her expected delivery day. She was a couple days late. And I just me laying out, say, hey, this is where we live. This is what our life's like. You know, we may not have much, but we're always going to work hard and we're always going to love you. And that's like something like that. That's what my channel really is. I just happen to come out here too. Hi, ladies. But I hope you have a great day. It was nice meeting you. My name's TJ again.
Okay, DJ again. My name's Evelyn. What you made me remind me of was my dad had one of those really, I guess, 1950s cameras that wound up. You know, so you know, he pointed at us until it wound down. But we got pretty much exactly the same thing: opening Christmas presents and
and that's really honestly what my YouTube channel is about. It's not about. I'm not doing it to make money. I'm doing it so to save memories for my daughter. She's only 7, you know, and I want her to see it when she gets older, you know.
And it's priceless.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, but I just happened to come down here. The reason I come down here and have conversations with people is because our community is being torn apart, and a lot of it I think has to do with we just both watch different pieces of propaganda.
Major General Tao says he's homeless by choice and runs a business. Oh, hell yeah, bro. I mean, like, are you in a position where at least you got shelter, though? Like, maybe like like a camper van or something? If you got like a camper van, that's a good thing.
Watch propaganda on both sides, and I think we need to be able to have conversations with people with different beliefs because otherwise our society falls apart, you know. And I don't want that. We're all here together. We're all part of Coos Bay. We need to, I mean, we all live together. We don't care who somebody voted for while we're inside Fred Meyer or Safeway. We only care when we're down.
Major General Tao lives. But you're running a business though, right? You say you're running a really like successful business and stuff. So as long as you're doing well in life, and as long as the van life is a good life for you, man, that's all that matters to me, man. I'm just hoping that you're living a good life, bro. That's the most important thing. And as long as you're living a life where you feel, I guess, a sense of ease and accomplishment.
Here, you know? Does that make sense?
My opinion is different from yours, so let's test that.
Okay.
No, I don't agree with you.
No? Would you care to expand on that? Or? No? Okay. Well, it's a pleasure meeting you. I already know
Say
that.
hello the next time I see you.
What's that?
I'll say hello next time.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, I'm not even going to try and talk to her. I know she don't like me. She'll yell at me. Yeah, oh yeah. No, she yelled at me several times.
Well, I don't disagree. I mean, I disagree with you, but I'm not going to tell.
Right, yeah.
You're clearly a nice person.
Well,
You clearly have news. I mean,
yeah, I have good intentions down here. I'm not down here to antagonize or intimidate or anything like that. I'm just down here to try and bring our community together.
which is a noble goal.
Yeah.
You go right. Oh,
It's windy out here, isn't it? Okay. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, these people treat TJ like crap. It pisses me off, dude. Major General Tao says, I have simplified to zero expenses. I focus on making money and buying stocks. That's smart, man. Honestly, as long as you're getting dividend income, I mean, you could pretty much And you're pretty much set for life if you got dividends coming in at all times, and you got a diversified portfolio. That's the key. That's the dream.
Good.
That really is the dream.
Impeachment now. Good. Can I read your sign?
Which side?
No kings, no dictators, no fascists, no Trump, no shit. And the other side. Impeach him now. The no-brain orange shit stain must go now.
I love how these people say they're not the party. They're the party of love and peace, but look, their signs are so nasty. Like, I understand they don't like Trump, but my God, Trump lives rent-free in all of these people's heads. Donald Trump lives rent-free in these people's heads. That's why Trump always wins.
I feel like impeach him now. Okay, hold on. You could have been clever. You could have had like a nice nice little poem instead of using now twice.
I know.
Yeah.
I was in a hurry. It was
Yeah.
like 9 o'clock this morning.
Right.
I was
No.
trying to
Well, for doing
slap it on top
yeah,
of
no,
the other
slapping
one
it
I had.
together in one morning. No, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I like it. Are you from here in town or?
Well, I live about 10 miles out of town.
Oh, right.
I will say, though, I'm a little bit tired at the moment. I got some things I got to do before going to bed, so my mind has turned to clay a little bit. So I want to thank my boy Nate Dogg for showing up on the chat, Major General Tao, and Stephen Prolix. Man, I'm sorry that you were working 3 jobs and running your own business at one point and only had $10 to your bank account, man. I mean, that's wild. That is wild, bro. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of those people at these anti-Trump rallies, they got their own opinion. I definitely think their opinions are a little, definitely not my cup of tea, but yeah, I don't know. Just the way they treat TJ, it makes me not like a lot of the people there that go to those anti-Trump rallies just because of how poorly they treat TJ and act like he's the devil. When in all reality, he's actually a pretty cool dude. You're a pink brony bro. I'm up and my balls are on the floor. Everybody's looking at me, calling me a whore. And I heard that there's a messed up place where all my brony brothers can hang up in my face. I'm having wicked dreams of creaming in Tennessee. Oh, Santa Monica, you've been so shitty to me. Won't make my mama proud. It's gonna cause a scene. She sees a brony boy. I know she's gonna scream, God, what have you done? You're a pink brony bro, and you dance at the gay club. Oh my God, I'm just having fun on the stage in my hooves. I'm wearing a man thong down at the Pink Brony Club. I'm gonna keep on fapping at the Pink Brony Club. I'm gonna keep on crapping down in West Hollywood. I'm gonna keep on crapping at the Pink Brony Club. The Pink Brony Club. All right, I do want to thank you guys. I hope you all have a good night. I got a few things I got to do before going to bed. And, yeah, I need to get some sleep, man. I need to get some damn sleep. But no, I do want to thank you all. And, well, I hope you all have an incredible rest of the night, man. Once again, thank you to my boy Nate Dogg. Thank you, Major General Tao. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you, Stephen Prolix. Thank you, my boy Nathan. My boy Nate Dogg. Yeah. It was a very interesting chat we were all having about, like, I know Nate Dogg and I, we disagree, I think, on taxation a little bit. I think eventually, and I understand, like, for billionaires and stuff, but I don't know. I think if you can start justifying, like I said, final note, if you could start justifying a certain kind of unethical taxation on a certain class of people, even if they're of a higher echelon, there's nothing stopping that unethical taxation from eventually reaching the common man. Trust me. Eventually the common man will get screwed by a lot of the rules that the rich people have to abide by. Because eventually those tax rules, especially if they're unethical, not only will they be passed on to the rich, they'll be passed on to people who are poor as well. That's all I'm saying. But I do want to thank you guys again. Thank you, Mr. Nate Dogg. Thank you, Mr. Major General Tao. I appreciate. I do appreciate riffing with you guys and talking to you guys, and trying to. I do enjoy these discussions. I really do. I know I'm a very passionate guy, so I appreciate you guys putting up with all my passionate answers and responses to all this shit. It gets crazy. I get crazy. But no, thank you guys. I appreciate you all. And have an incredible rest of the night.